it was in and around that time that a lot of really good things were happening to you too. You had in 1976, I think it was February 7th. Obviously, everybody in this area remembers where they were when you played that game against Don Cherry and the Boston Bruins. Dave Reese was in goal for the Bruins, and that was a game where you scored your 10 points, 6 goals, 4 assists. And I know you've been asked this a million times, but that is a record that still stands today, and a lot of people think that won't be touched. But that obviously was something that a milestone for you. But it's something that just came out of the blue, and in that game just formed a life of its own.
Well, yeah, it did. I mean, I never expected that to happen. When it was happening that night, at the end of the second period, the statistician came down to the dressing room over to my stall. And he says, "Darryl, I don't know if you know it, but you've got 7 points. If you get another one, you tie Rocket Richard," which I think that record was back in the late 40s, early 50s. And then I knew that, hey, what the record was, went out in the third period, not with any different attitude other than the fact that if I scored another one, I would tie him, and happened to get 3. And at the time, I don't think I really realized the magnitude of it, but here we are all these years later, I think 37 years, obviously coming up in a few days here, and it's still a record. It's something that I was proud to do in a Leaf uniform. Hockey Night in Canada was against the original 6 team, the Bruins back then, so a lot of people watched it. And when I'm out and about, hey, it comes up all the time, and whether will it be broken, I don't know. Obviously, it's going to be very difficult. But there's a number of players who have had 8. Nobody's had 9. I'm fortunate to have 10. And hey, do I hope it continue to hold the record? Definitely. But if another player did it, I could understand, because I never expected it to happen to me. And that's the kind of the neat thing about sport. You know, the unknown is always there, and it can happen. And the other thing in that year, which I think you're alluding to, is I had a fortunate opportunity to play for Team Canada in '76. So.
Yeah, Canada Cup '76. What a great tournament. Were you surprised? And I'm going to lead you into the overtime goal. But were you surprised it was the Czechs that were the team that you met in the final?
Well, what had happened is, we all know the great '72 series, so it was always the Russians, Canada, and the Russians were like the powerhouse of the world. But at the same time, with Canada, but at the same time, we over here didn't hear a lot about the Swedes and the Czechs and those sorts of players. But you saw a guy like Borje Salming and Inge Hammerström come over. The Stasnys were just young then, and you knew these other countries had good players. I think no Canadian player or fan thought that the Czechs would be in the finals, but at the same time, when we started to play that round robin with the teams of 6 teams, we knew right away that all those countries, the Swedes, the Czechs, even the United States, they were competitive teams in a short series like that. When it's a 1-game knockout and you've got good goaltending like the Czechs had, that's what got them there. But it was fun. And back then, too, it was still the days of the communism versus socialism, and so there were different attitudes towards the different countries playing each other. We thought obviously our system over here is better than what the Russians and some of the Czechs had to go through, and their style of living, and that added to it and the excitement. But that was my greatest moment, scoring the overtime goal. The 10-point game, it was a 1-game thing, but the Canada Cup was a championship team that was on. I look at the players on that team. I think 19 have gone on to be inducted in the Hockey Hall of Fame. To me, it was probably one of the greatest assembly of hockey players on any one team ever, and I was proud to be a part of it.